All right, hello again, everybody. Welcome to game number 2 for week 2. Our St. Clair Saints did pretty solid the last round just based off of positioning alone, as Syrian Beauty got themselves into second place once again, getting themselves 7 points on top of whatever kills they earned in that match. And then Swell and Intrinsic got themselves into sixth, so a much better finish compared to last week, and they score themselves 5 points on top of, I believe, the 1 or 2 kills they also managed to get. So, without further ado, we are going to drop on in. Looks like Swell and Intrinsic dropping off early. Meanwhile, Syrian Beauty taking their time, waiting to go towards I think it's the northeast portion of the map. Looks like the first one to land will be Siri and Beauty going into the Misty Meadows up in the far north end of the or is it kind of near the center? It might be near the center. I'm not 100% sure, unfortunately. Let's see what kind of loot they can manage to snake themselves out. Swell and Intrinsic are taking their time, but it looks like they're also being followed by another school from what I'm hearing in the comms. So, a bit of a scary spot for them, and understandably so, taking their time. But because they're taking so long, it could be a little rough when they try to actually start getting some loot. Wait, they very well might not be the first ones to make it to the point. Caseful and Intrinsic taking 30 docks once again, very similarly to game number 1. They must have changed it so that breaking the grounds below a chest doesn't completely delete all the loot, thank God. Always hated that. We've got potions and we've got assault rifles here for Swell and Intrinsic. Meanwhile, on the side of Syrian Beauty, for at least Siri anyway, got shotguns, we got medkits, and we've got ARs. So it did appear that Soul and Intrinsic were kind of chased down away from their original point, but seems quiet so far. Gonna give them an opportunity to farm up some more materials before getting into the battle. Looking at Syrian Beauty, so Beauty doesn't have anything in terms of shields right now, so hopefully he can find something pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Swell and Intrinsic are fully loaded, ready to go. Just need some additional firepower, and picking up that purple assault rifle is a nice start. Okay, blue assault rifle for Syrian Beauty, or for Syria in this case, rather. Now, in terms of the actual, oh, we got some shots coming in here for Syria. Actually, trying to pick somebody off. I think they're in one of those rocket boats. Doing some damage. I'm guessing with the orange numbers, that is vehicle damage rather than player. Getting about 60 damage onto it, and then boat's gonna skeeter away. And then we go back to farming. I would assume vehicles probably have much higher health pools than an actual player, so 60 damage probably is not too much to be worried about. There we go, another big potion. I assume Siri's going to leave that for Beauty, as he definitely needed some. Yeah, but other than that purple assault rifle, nothing really too fancy coming out here for either of the same squads, at least of the perspectives that we can see right now. So a couple people actually going down rather early into this one. So we're down to 40 some, I think it's 48 players right now. And we started at 58, so 10 people dropping essentially right away. Now the race to get to the southwest area of the map, now that the storm has started to appear, Syria Beauty finding themselves a bit of an engagement. They took a lot of shield damage off, and I think maybe even broke the shield a little bit, and they are on the chase, chasing whoever these guys are into the house. Find some reinforcements behind them as well. A little bit of additional shield damage. Chase them into the house, but can he find them and get the opening shot with that shotgun? Does actually find him there. He's going to try and outplay him with the builds, but he actually loses all of his shields via one shotgun shot. And that's actually the trap going to come in and play, get a bunch of additional damage, gets another trap down. He's got his partner here now too, though. This could be very scary. He gets the shot, takes one down. See if he can find the other and secure himself the elimination. Chasing with no shield. Takes a little bit of fall damage, but nothing too crazy. And there we go. I think his partner Beauty did manage to take him down, so they get 2 kills on the board for themselves. Nicely done there. And how about that? Even picking up a med kit for good measure. Apparently, jumping in the river actually gives you a speed boost. That was kind of funny. That's one way to traverse it, and they've basically already made it into the safe zone because of that. But I definitely liked that there from Syrian Beauty. They took a couple pot shots, managed to smoke some of the field off, if not take it down. And just like sharks out for blood, they just chased the guy all the way down. Didn't care that his partner was right there. Take them both out, why don't ya? Good way to score your team 2 points real quick. Oh, we might be in for a little bit of a sniper tower kind of style here with Syrian Beauty getting extreme high ground here, safely planting themselves in the middle of what currently is the safe zone of the storm, and just waiting for everybody to come to them. Although it seems like all is quiet for the most part, but this might actually get a little stressful here for Swell and Intrinsic as they are coming from the northeast, and the storm is right on their tail. But of course, this first round of the storm coming in is extremely slow, like I was mentioning before. So just by using like standard running, you don't have to do any sort of boost or anything. You can just outrun the storm by yourself. So see, I'm looking behind each or behind them pretty frequently. A little paranoid. They must have saw somebody at some point and just haven't seen them pop up just quite yet. As we go all the way down into the southwestern point of this map. Hey, Siri's got himself a boat, finds his partner, teams back up, and it looks like he's got a weapon for him there. Okay, we might very well soon have our first confrontation here for Swell and Intrinsic. As they start to approach the storm safe zone from from the outside. There very well could be players already there set up, ready to go. So might be a little nerve wracking as they start to approach that area. But if there's one thing that Swell has going for him already is he is completely loaded on materials. He's got so much at this point that as long as he gets the opportunity to build, he's got essentially endless resources. Okay, ziplining into the safe zone, and as long as nobody's there waiting for them, this should be pretty good position for them. Now, this area for Swell and Intrinsic has already been tampered with. Somebody's definitely already been here. And I know I keep repeating myself saying like something is something scary or something's nerve wracking, but going into an area that you know somebody's been into and just not knowing that they could pop out at you at anywhere is most definitely that. Well, Intrinsic setting up their forward. They must have heard somebody behind them as they're taking a rather defensive position here. We've got 41 players still in this game, so still a lot of people left to go. Oh wow, Swollen and Intrinsic are essentially in the middle of things, stuck in their fort. Syria and Beauty have just been tagging along the outside of this area, more down towards like the very, very far, like very, very west side of things, and not exactly getting into any sort of confrontation. Meanwhile, Swell and Intrinsic, they do spot somebody trying to see if they can get a pot shot or two at them. As a storm starts closing in, starting to bring this to a pretty stressfully close area. And it looks like it's crunch time. Now Siri and Beauty have also joined the party here. They're more down towards the southeast of the storm zone, while Trinsic and Swell are more towards the northeast. Now, of course, they do have to be very careful that they don't actually open fire on each other, but it's just a part of the game, unfortunately, at this point. You're a team of two, not necessarily a team of four in this CSL format. Shots fired, trying to get the guy who's trying to build. He does break a lot of the fort, but he's able to stay up on top of that. He forced back to the low ground. Lots of pressure here from Swell. He actually does manage to poke him a little bit. That guy had no shields either, so 31 damage done to somebody, but he's also being shot from another angle. I'm going to keep trying to put pressure on the guy on the low ground. He's actually almost completely busted that building. Down it goes. Trying to keep safe, shooting through the window, not going any further than he needs to as the storm starts to close in even further. They're still just barely in the safe zone. Would definitely switch to the point of view if I could, but I could only get one point of view of each team, unfortunately. So a Swell's kind of stuck in here. We do have Syrian Beauty on the other side, down south, as we get actually a pretty good view from here of how many buildings are just in the vicinity of this area. Shots fired here for Swell and Intrinsic as they start to see the players build their way out of the storm and just constantly peppering them with all of these shots, making their move really hard. That's actually about 90 damage, completely taking away the shield. That's an elimination there for Swell. There we go, getting on the board. Looks like Intrinsic got some good shots on somebody as well, kind of forced him down to the low ground. 34 damage, almost barely taking the guy out. There is the two of them there, but that team's kind of stuck, forced to build at this moment. Oh, and that's another kill. That's Swell getting himself another one. And it looks like actually we've got Siri Beauty moving in, coming hot, going right towards this building. I'm not sure if somebody is there and they're going to try and gank him or what, but just building high at the moment. It looks all is quiet for now. A little bit of shots fired right in front of Swell, actually. Yeah, this is definitely crunch time here for the players. Okay, Swell is on the move alongside Intrinsic, trying to make that harpoon. I don't know if he's trying to poke somebody out or force him out, but yeah, someone's stuck in the storm there, and they. Oh, I see what he's doing there. Okay, being informed from the coach real quick that that's actually to grab the material, so that's actually pretty clever usage of the harpoon. Nice usage. Learning things here today. Now, Beauty spotted somebody. He's actually getting the shots off onto that building, trying to break the roof down. Gonna use some grenades actually to try and break as much of the building as possible below them. Okay, there we go. Just going right through, and there we go. Beauty's right there to open fire on them. And then Siri's gonna just go to the high ground instead as Beauty holds low. Looks like somebody is essentially outbuilt them though in terms of the high ground. We do have that tower to the southwest, extremely high. We'll see it here in Siri's point of view actually. And they're going to try and see what they can do. I think that's going to be Beauty trying to pepper that down. Actually, no, that's actually another team. We got two teams shooting each other from the safety of their towers. And Siri's going to try and make a move to get into the safe zone because that actually completely slipped me, but the zone has moved. And Siri's going to get himself peppered, but he's got some walls to try and slow this down at least a little bit. Still has his shields and 90 HP. Does make it and is going to be able to at least get some safety for now, but he is being pressured by some people from across the site. Now, at the same time, though, Swell and Intrinsic getting peppered by somebody from below. We also have action from all points. This is essentially the crunch time here for the Fortnite squad as we have 27 players about to get squished into this extremely small safe zone of the storm. And that wall might actually do some damage. It's going to take down so much. And there was actually some people sitting there too. So that was a nice little destruction there for Siri and Beauty. And while Swell and Intrinsic did have somebody right there on the opposite side of the wall, but I think they either dealt with them or he has moved for now. Right back to Siri and Beauty. We saw him manage to tag the guy with a little bit of shield damage. A little bit of an odd spot. Sure, they have the high ground, but they got people firing upon them from all directions at this point. This is quite the view, actually, right now. Just gunshots absolutely everywhere. And that one building to the north is actually going to get covered up by the storm, so we're probably going to see some people come running very shortly. Couple players right there below Siri and Beauty, and they're going to looks like they're going to try and go for blood, or going to try and get into that safe zone. Actually, the safe zone did move, so it's going to get even smaller, but they at least take the opportunity to stay safe. Of course, I switch right as the action happens here once again. Some people just to the outside of the safe zone here to the south. Just constantly burning through. Managed to tag him for one shot. As Siri and Beauty are taking care of that. We also have Swell and Intrinsic getting pressured from the west side. Taking a second now, right back here to Siri and Beauty, just back and forth battles here as we are down to 21 now. A few have fallen, but not actually too many. Swell and Intrinsic finding their man once again, and then just back and forth action, of course, like I was saying earlier. Much better situation here for Swell and Intrinsic, both of them here alive right for the final fight. Of course, in the last game, we did unfortunately lose Intrinsic rather early into the late battles. So for them to both be alive here this far is absolutely clutch. And somebody on the other side of that wall, sure enough, there is. And gonna try and build and run away, but Swell and Intrinsic gonna try and keep the pressure on him. We'll definitely keep an eye on that as this unfolds. Of course, Siri and Beauty have the high ground in the situation, still holding strong here. I think they're probably the players at the highest point at this moment. But he very well might be getting challenged here as somebody's trying to make their way up to them, it looks like, but they're going down to actually pressure them. Shotguns out, ready to blast, but can't find the guy at the moment. It's easy to get lost in all of these buildings. And do they want to actually give the high ground? That's a lot of damage done to one of the players, but he doesn't go down. I think he is actually out of ammo for his gun there too for Siri, so a little rough as it starts getting to the later parts of this match. Resources are definitely going to become a huge problem, whether it be ammo or building materials. Thankfully, Beauty right there to give Siri a little bit of additional supply. Now, the storm is essentially the size of a penny, if y'all remember what that is, but it's so small at this point. Just so difficult to even move. So Swell and Intrinsic kind of in the middle ground. They do manage to find one. I think Intrinsic got a lot of that one. Oh yeah, now it's getting nuts. Even to the point where the Saints players have to start kind of competing against each other since they're technically not on the same team in game, right? And okay, that's gonna be some good damage. There we go. Swell Intrinsic finding a knockdown. I don't think that counts to the point until they actually eliminate the person themselves. Now it's to the point where that storm is just so small, and there's somebody right above them. They're going to bring them down. They get the kill. That's another one down for Swell and Intrinsic. Looking good for both of them. It's going to be scary. There's another kill actually here. And in the meantime, actually, Siri does go down. The trap going to take him out. So Swell just staying alive. Can they actually out heal the storm at this point compared to everybody else? It's gotten so small that everybody's taking damage. He's got a few fish still available. 4 down, and at least 2 of them are our Saints. You find anything additional, so that is Tyrion Beater down at third place. He actually finds a healing. Finding that healing thing at the very end was actually so clutch. Can he hang on? They must have had a ton. So an absolute crazy run here for our Saints Gaming squad. Swell Intrinsic getting second place with Syrian Beauty getting third. A very fantastic job of staying alive and easily the best finish here for Swell and Intrinsic so far this season. I know it's only technically week 2, but very, very nicely done. Only barely missing out of the victory royale by being able to just out heal the guy.